Hi all, this is Jen. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making this extra large triangle box, and I have it closed with a piece of Velcro. You open it up and there's lots of space inside for treats, gifts, all kinds of goodies. You can actually send this in the mail as well. You would leave off the closure right here, but you could seal it with some packaging tape and send it in the mail. I've actually sent several of these in the mail, and because this is watercolor paper, it's extremely heavy and it goes through the mail very well. What you're going to need is a piece of watercolor paper that is 11 by 15, and let me show you what I use. This is what I use, the Canson watercolor paper, 11 by 15, cold press. This is what I use. And to get this gray color, I did this last night and then let it dry overnight. I picked out my pattern paper that I wanted to use, and then I tried to decide what I wanted to do with the watercolor background. So I went to my inks, and this is Distress ink. I have pumice stone and black soot. So I put some water in my little container here, put a couple drips of both of those into my water, and then I went to my Pearl X powders, and this is antique silver, and put just a tiny bit of the Pearl X powders in with my water mixture. And I don't know if you can tell it or not, but this is super shiny and it's so cool looking, and it doesn't come off on your hands. Okay, so I cleaned up my little mess I made. So anyways, I just used Distress ink, some water, Pearl X, rubbed it on here with a brush, and that's how I got this look. So now what we're going to do is you need to grab your score pal, your scoring tool, and this is 15 inches. Your board only goes up to 12, but that's okay. On the 15-inch side, you're going to score 3 inches on each side. So 3 inches here, we'll just rotate this around on the other end of the 15-inch side, and now we have 3 inches on both ends of the 15-inch side. So we're going to take it and we're going to put the paper like this so that the 11-inch side's at the top. You're going to score at 1, 4. Now, since the paper is longer than the scoreboard, you want to stop before you get to the end of the board so you don't poke a hole through the paper. We're going to go to 7 and 10. So you're going down to just about till you get to the bottom and then stopping. And now we're going to take the paper and just flip it over. And then we're going to line up our measurements again and just score 1, 4, 7, and 10. And that's all we have to do there. Oh, before you move it, you have a middle square right here, and that's 3 inches from 4 to 7. You want to go to your 5.5-inch mark and just put you a little score line there, because we're going to have to do some other scoring here in a minute. So 5.5 there, flip it to the other side, and 5.5 right here, because you want the center point of this middle box, and that's 5.5 right there. Now what you're going to do is grab your straight edge, and that little mark we just made, that score mark, you're going to put your straight edge there and your straight edge in the bottom corner of that little square box, and you're just going to make a score line. Up here, down at the bottom, make a score line. Do it to the other side. Up here, down here. And that's good. Okay, let's go ahead and fold in on these score lines. This does not come off on your fingers. Sometimes if you have glitter paper or whatever, you get a little bit, but not a lot. So that's pretty cool. If you ever have any kind of paper that is, shedding some glitter or mica or something, you can actually get hairspray. I have some cheap hairspray. This is what I use. I think I got it at the Dollar Tree. And I just spray it on my project, let it dry, and the hairspray seals that shininess into the paper. All right, so we're going to cut off all 4 corners. So there's 4 rectangles you're just going to chop off. Now you could also stamp these boxes. So if you didn't want to do panels of pattern paper and finish it out like I'm doing, you could just watercolor and then stamp on this to make your own pattern. However you want to finish it out. Okay, so now what we have to do is you want to cut these on the inside towards this way. So cut these flaps in like this, or they will not fold in right. Okay, you have to cut them like this. You cannot cut them like this. Okay, now where we have our triangles, it's going to fold on those scored parts. So after you get all of your adhesive applied to your flaps, you're going to take off the backing on one side, and you can start lining up those sides and placing them down. Before you start that though, if you grab your corner rounder, you can go to your back and front flaps, which are the extra long flaps, and just round the corners on those. It will look better and make it actually a little bit easier to assemble the project here in a minute when we get to that part. So just line up all of your flaps, taking the adhesive backing off, bringing them inside, and then lining them up. And for some reason I forgot to remove one of the adhesive backing pieces on one of my flaps. I don't know why, but anyways, so at this point this is the same on either side, front or back. So just whichever one you decide, tuck one of the flaps on the inside, and then the other flap will just fold over, and that will be the front once you get it folded over. Now you can take your 1-inch punch and bring it down, punch out a semicircle for like a little thumb hole to hang on to. This is going through a couple layers of watercolor paper, so since it's thick anyways and then going through 2 layers, you're going to have to use a little bit of elbow grease to get that to punch through. But once it's done, you can fold it back in, fold your flap over, and then we'll be ready to Alright, now that we
embellish.
have made our extra large triangle box, we're going to go ahead and put our panels on. And we're going to do this simply by just placing them on the front and the back. I am not going to put one on the bottom. If you want to put one on the bottom, it's going to be the same size as these. So you need 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 8.5. So there's those 2 pieces. This piece here is 8.5 by 3/4, and it's going to go on our flap right there. This little piece here is going to be part of our little fold over flap, and it is 1 inch by 2 3/4. Alright, you're also going to need a piece of just plain paper, which is going to go behind this piece right here for your flap, and it is 3 inches by 1 1/4. It's going to sit on there like that. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive on the 2 big pieces. This piece here, round the corners there, round the corner there. Actually, we're gonna round them, all of them. The back side you don't have to round. I want this in the front, so definitely on the front round them, but you don't have to on the back. Just take some inch score tape, put it on there. Peel that off. I want this flower in the front, so I'm just going to line this up to where it's centered and there's a little bit of border on the bottom so you can see that. And then you're going to grab your project and just center it up and see exactly how much you want hanging off the edge, just like that. So there's probably about 3/4 of an inch back here, and then the remainder of it is on the front. So once you get that, you're going to take this, grab your adhesive again. You could be a little more neat than I am. Just want to put it on the back of that part. And then you're going to eyeball it. You can even, if you want to, you can get a ruler and a pen if you want to do it the right way, I guess. This is 9 inches, so 4.5 is the center. So you can kind of take your paper and line it up just like that. And then there's your center. Now to keep this closed, I have got these Velcro or fastener dots. I got these from the Dollar Tree, and I cut them in half to make half rounds usually for most of these projects, because I don't need a whole circle for these. If you cut them in half, they're strong enough. So I will lay one piece, part of the Velcro, on the flap. I'll peel off the other piece. I will attach it to here. You could actually put some extra adhesive on there if you want. But my example, my sample one, it stuck just fine. And if you take this off, so yeah, then you can put a sentiment on here if you want. You could put it on the side, but there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.